Oh my gosh, okay, now you can hear me. Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay. Yes. All right. All right. Thank you guys. Now you can hear me. I appreciate the feedback, but it's going to be easiest for me. Most of y'all, if y'all will leave your comments over on Rumble, I'm not going to be able to be checking Foxhole and Pilled as often. Okay. Now I can tell that y'all can hear me. Okay. Thank you guys. But if y'all and everybody that's anyone that's watching from Foxhole and Pilled, if y'all will funnel y'all's stuff over and on YouTube as well. I'm not going to be checking YouTube comments. YouTube sometimes doesn't even let me play. It doesn't even let me go. So, um, if everyone can direct all of their comments over to Rumble, that would be ideal. Because that way I can just check one area. And it's a good platform. I really like Rumble. It's not giving me any problems at all. It lets me talk about all of this stuff. Okay, so again, we are this morning. I know what you're here for, most of you. You are hearing a lot of wild things out of Dallas, and we're going to cover some of them. I can't cover all of them. I don't, I can cover a lot of them. If you have any questions, leave them over in the Rumble chat again. Now, randomly enough, we're going to actually start out this morning with South Dakota. It's a state we don't hear a lot from, to be honest. We really don't. Sorry if that was loud. If you heard that, I apologize. We don't do a lot of stuff in South Dakota, but this is a really interesting piece. And somebody sent me the whole Commissioner's Court video. I was like, oh, I can't watch all of that. But we found this nice little clip here. Timestamps are really, really great. And it's hard to remember to do that, but be sure to remember to do that, especially if you're somewhere and you're watching it live and you're watching live things happen and you're like, oh, this is wild. Check the time, write it down. It's really helpful. Like an old-fashioned watch and pen, say at this time, this argument was made, and that was wild. All right, guys, we're going to, I'm going to just play this little clip. Not every state has the exact same voting system, so our concerns are very similar from state to state to state. But there may be certain terms that are used interchangeably, different terms, but the concepts overall are the same. So if anybody has any feedback on these terms, these concepts, so that we can make sure to win every little game of semantics that the deep state likes to play with us, that would be really great. Y'all contribute them over in the Rumble chat. But this is covering some concerns over what I believe is certification. Y'all let me know if y'all what y'all hear out of this video. I'm gonna take myself out and I'm gonna play this video. And I'm checking the Rumble chat. Thank you guys.
Or secure. And I'll just tell you flat out that it does conform to the certificate that is published by the EAC. 4 of our counties also have the same type of hard drive. What I can show you immediately is that I was able to take a forensic copy of that hard drive and actually boot up the electionware system on a non-conforming laptop. That is a complete violation of the certificate, which required that the trusted platform module be enabled. It would be impossible normally for that hard drive to go off of a certified machine that is communicating with its chip to be able to boot up on here. And the other piece of evidence that I have of nonconformity is that you will notice that I have a thumb drive on the side of it. That thumb drive is a BitLocker key that is used to basically allow the security of the laptop to boot up. That is another violation because what is supposed to happen is it should be on an official Delkin thumb drive that is supposed to be serialized and secure. So I've just given you 2 pieces of evidence. I've also shown another piece of evidence in other states that have published in lawsuits because their auditors and attorney generals and states attorneys did not do due diligence of publishing the manuals online in the court cases. Sheriff Stanek can confirm on page 10 of this manual, the default administrator user and password is publicly available on the internet. And I have that copy here, and I showed Sheriff Stanek page 10, and he can confirm that the password is there and not redacted. The other manuals for the complete system, including the DS200, 450, and 850, all of those passwords are available online as default. We're also aware that when C-Change was in charge of the elections during the last few years, the default password was election 1. And it was universal across all the states that they were operating in. Thankfully, we're using ES&S directly, and they should be changing those passwords. My recommendation is that the password should be different for each of the machines. Don't use the same password across the spectrum so that you can help delay it. The other piece is that you're probably wondering if I can even log in to this laptop to actually get in. Yes, I can, and there it is going in right now. So I have been able to even circumvent their security and default the password to whatever I wanted it to be. And there is the electionware software. And yes, now I have the ability to decrypt the thumb drives of this county and any other county across the United States that's using electionware 6.1.1.1, so that we could view the cast vote records and ballot images. So the fact that now I've just shown you this piece of evidence, I understand that my life is at risk and that the United States does not want this to be known, that this software is available on the dark web. The manuals are publicly available out on the internet in multiple states, and our elections are not secure, and we should be requesting immediate change orders of ES&S to update the antivirus. They have not even updated the security patches of this laptop since 2019, or the antivirus since March 29th, 2019. The 4 counties that use this laptop in our state are 100% at risk. Also, the DS200s, 450s, and 850s have no antivirus on them whatsoever. So if you get a new thumb drive from ES&S and plug it in, even this laptop is unaware of potentially the last 5 years of vulnerabilities that have hit the US. Thank you.
Well. Sorry if that was loud, you guys. Would you like to see that again? I would, but I'll play it again here in just a little bit. So basically, what part of what he was saying was that the passwords to get into the election management system, like the entire thing, to see to see literally everything, are so basic and apparently publicly known. Like, people just leak that stuff, and I believe it because I've been in Tarrant County elections. I'm just going to make sure that my audio is working since I'm so skilled. Okay. I've been in Tarrant County elections when they're doing the tests, when they're adjusting things on the voting machines, the controllers, and stuff like that. And I've personally seen the simplicity of the passwords. And these are the administrative passwords that they ask me not to film, obviously, like if, they don't want, they don't want it on camera necessarily, but it's so basic. And he kind of exposed that, and he was frustrated. You heard him being frustrated. I think we have every right to be frustrated and to take a firm tone with people. And a lot of people don't like that. But I really appreciated his presentation, and I think we need to see that duplicated in every state, because they are going to say, oh, well, it's a different model, all of this stuff. But we can talk about the model that we have going on here in Dallas, if you want to talk about that, because we actually have a very similar model, if not the exact same model. They're going to say, oh, it's a different software system. Then once we point out we have the same model as what this man was describing as easy to gain access to, say, oh, well, that was maybe a glitch in that software. Well, let's look at the software program that we have, okay, in our EMS, our election management system, which is the central server, the central accumulator inside the main brain of your county's elections office, the central count. Okay. Central count is where all of the ballots and all of the machines and all of the thumb drives from the machines come to be stored, sorted, tabulated, and reported, all of those things. Now, in this server, in this EMS server, in your central count, this is where they're going to take if you're using the DS200s and some Heart machines, Dominion we don't use in Texas, so I can't speak too much for Dominion. But for ESNS and Heart, we have these thumb drives. And sometimes they have duplicates. Most of the time they have duplicates. So one will stay with the machine. One will the whole way from the polling location all the way to central count. One will go into a little tower. Well, sometimes it's a machine that looks like exactly like all the other voting machines and you couldn't tell it apart if your country depended on it. But it goes into this little machine with a modem inside, one of the thumb drives. And that's how your county's central count is getting those results on election night before the ballots actually arrive at central count. They're getting that through a wireless communication. It's not the internet. It's not the DARPA net. They like to play semantics, but it is a wireless communications network that looks just like the internet to us millennials. What do I know? I only survived Y2K. What do I know? All I got is a stupid t-shirt. So this is a wireless communications network, and they're sending the results from these rally stations. It's a box truck where you load up all of your machines and ballots at, and I say you, I mean an election clerk or judge at the end of election day. Sometimes at the end of early voting too. But early voting, they handle the ballots a little bit differently in Texas than they do on election day. Anyways, your county receives the results from one of those thumb drive that's plugged into the machine that wirelessly sends it to the county. The county starts to report those basically. Say it's like 8:00 and your county's already reporting stuff, but they don't necessarily have the ballots from those locations to report. They're reporting what they're getting, what they're having transmitted to them from those rally stations. Okay. Then all of those ballots and everything gets transferred back to central count at the end of the night. Okay. When those ballots and the machines and the other thumb drives that are in the machines get there, they're supposed to match them up with a couple of things. There's all kinds of reconciliation that goes down. This is where the chain of custody gets really confusing, but you need to try to follow it. You need to try to learn about what is your chain of custody for your ballot supposed to look like from voter to ballot box, from ballot box to central count, and then from central count to the reporting, and then all the audits. You need to see what does all this look like, okay? Because it looks a little bit different everywhere. But a chain of custody is necessary to make sure that everything's matching up, that the totals are matching up. You can reconcile everything, okay? Anyways, that's when all of those thumb drives are supposed to be plugged into this EMS server. When all of the thumb drives get there at the end of the night, okay, all of the box trucks arrive with all the polling locations, data, and equipment and ballots. Then they're plugging in those things to the EMS, the central server, which is what is compiling these reports and kind of just verifying the totals that were already transmitted wirelessly earlier before all the ballots got there. So it's really important that we have people watching at the rally stations, because if it's just like one guy posted up at the rally stations and he happens to be like, an operative, he's ops, and he switches out ballot bags, with the way that our ballots are numbered nowadays, it's really not, I don't think that people would even know how to detect if that ballot bag has been switched out, because you just pull the little identifying markers out of the little plastic window on the bag. There's nothing like special about that. And then you'd be disappointed at how many times we've seen seals not matching, like the numerical seals that are supposed to be recorded. You'd be disappointed at how many times we've recorded those not matching. So that's broken chain of custody right there. If it was a murder case, you'd have no case. I'd go straight for your chain of custody. Where'd you even get that evidence? Where'd you find that gun? In the dumpster? Like, you challenge their evidence. And remember, guys, the burden of proof is not on the people. The burden of proof is on the government to prove that they ran a lawful election. It's not on the people to prove that the way that the government ran the election, violating the laws, resulted in, a change in the outcome. That's not how chain of custody works. It's not the people who write the chain of custody down. It's the government. It's the government employees that we're paying. So we have to make sure that the chain of custody is super solid for all of this stuff, because they are transmitting things wirelessly. They're going to argue about whether it's the internet or whatever, but they're sending it down to EMS. So this EMS server is what everyone's talking about in Dallas County. And I'm going No, wait, I'm going to share with you this one. Actually, first, let me share with you this. This is a post made by Patrick Byrne, and this is really interesting, guys. Okay, so that was in South Dakota. That clip that we just talked about and discussed, where he was talking about how basically the passwords, like, it's so weak, anybody can get into this central server, and this is a post by Patrick Byrne where he's talking about the Carrie Lake case, right? Let me see if I can zoom in on it. All right, can y'all read that? He says, uppercut delivered at SCOTUS. Carrie Lake's case against machines in 2024 is dismissed by a federal court in Arizona on the grounds that it was too speculative. Ninth Circuit upheld that absurd decision on appeal. Last week, Carrie Lake, Kurt Olson filed at SCOTUS an appeal. Last night, they filed the appendix with stunning new evidence found in links below. Here's some key points. Maricopa, let me make sure y'all can see that. kind of hard to see, but I'll read it to you. Maricopa County's election software used in the 2020 and 2022 elections has been altered with respect to the machine behavior settings that govern how ballots are read and tabulated. This is something that we need to know if that's happening, right? The way that we can tell if a software's been manipulated, right, Hyder, is the hash validation, right, Hyder? That's the way you showed me, right? So next key point from Carrie Lake's entry at SCOTUS. The EAC never approved this altered software, and Maricopa's many previous representations that this election software is EAC certified, including to the AZ Senate, are false. This is what this right here is. Oh, I'm sorry, I don't mean to shout. This right here is what is has people concerned all over the county or all over the nation. The county, sorry, Tarrant County's big, y'all. All over the nation, in every state and in every county. Are these things actually certified? What is certification? Does the EAC determine what is certification? Okay, then let's look at their criteria. And if what the state has doesn't match the EAC's criteria, we might even disagree with the EAC's criteria. We might even say, you know what, I think that their criteria is not strong enough. They need to I don't really like that criteria, whatever. They've got some stuff in there that's decent. So if we say, okay, let's look at their criteria, and the states aren't even following that, then who's to determine if it's actually lawfully certified? So here goes right here. The EAC never approved this altered software. Like, in Maricopa's many previous representations that this election software is EAC certified, including to the AZ Senate, are false. I have a question for Katie Hobbs. Did you tell Maricopa that this was certified software? Katie Hobbs? Did you tell them that? Third key point, knowingly modifying knowingly. Y'all remember that? Y'all remember when? Okay. Knowingly modifying election software without approval or certification pursuant to 16-442 is a felony under Arizona law. See 16-1004B. We could look that up. That's under Arizona revised statutes. Title 16. Dominion's operative contract with Maricopa states, quote, data generated by the Democracy Suite platform, including results reporting, is protected by the deployment of FIPS, approved symmetric AES encryption. All right, guys? Because that's something that the average American can understand and explain to their children. I'm getting pissed. I'm already, let me calm down. Key point number 5, but Dominion placed the master cryptographic keys in plain text and unprotected on the election database. They just made me pronounce all that stuff. Then turns out the master cryptographic keys are just in plain text. So probably my basic ass could understand it and get into it if I really wanted to. Like, I would sometimes, if I want to do something, I'll do it. I don't necessarily want to get into Dominion's thing right here, but that's what it's suggesting could happen. But Dominion placed the master cryptographic keys in plain text and unprotected on the election database, except for Windows login, which are easily bypassed. Sorry, I'm not trying to laugh, you guys. Leaving these highly sensitive cryptographic keys in this state violates all cybersecurity protocols and allows a malicious actor to take control of the machine and change results without detection. That just hit me right on a nerve right here. Leaving these highly sensitive cryptographic keys in this state violates all cybersecurity protocols and allows a malicious actor to take control of the machines and change results without detection. Key point number 6, as Mr. Cotton stated in his declaration, it is like a bank having the most secure vault in the world, touting how secure it is to the public, and then taping the combination in large font type on the wall next to the vault door. Just so you don't forget, just like because you don't want to, get yourself locked out, do you? Given all of these findings, none of these machines can be trusted to give reliable results in 2024. That's key point number 7. I appreciate the number sequence. Okay, so I agree. I mean, do you guys, what else can be determined from that? Honestly, let me check to see if I go. Okay, you guys, oh nice. All right, you guys, y'all can watch this later. Okay, if you missed this and you need to watch it later, don't worry. Okay, you can watch this later because we're just live reacting to this. Thank you, Patrick Byrne, for this update. This is sick. I really appreciate the breakdown of these points right here. Okay, y'all retweet this. Go follow Patrick. That guy's a patriot. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care what they say about you, Patrick. You're great. Just kidding. All right. What we're going to talk about now is my latest report right here. All right. Hang on, my phone. I feel like the most popular girl in the world right now. Oh, never mind. That was just my apartments telling me that I need to take care of stuff because they're closing for some holiday. There's a holiday coming up. Anyways, this is what I want to talk about, you guys, because this is what I'm getting all the calls about. Everyone's calling, and a lot of people are concerned. A lot of people are getting activated, and a lot of people just met Hyder for the first time. Everybody in Dallas, he had a meeting. A lot of you guys have met him, okay? And you can see, how charming, how helpful he can be when he wants to be, right? And maybe you've even witnessed how maybe stubborn, I'll say, he can be if you disagree with him on certain concepts. But that's why you want to make sure that you get the terminology right, because that's one thing that he's built these systems, guys. You got to remember, he doesn't just like manage elections. Okay, he's like the best in the world at designing elections, by his own design. Administering elections by his own design. He's got a lot of experience in a lot of different places. And that's all I'll say about that. So it's important though that you guys actually have the information behind you. You want to make sure you know what you're talking about. You're standing on the law as it's written, and we're not, we get a lot of questions about stuff that's like not necessarily stuff we can do anything about. So I try to make sure that people understand what we can do, what we can't do, and what's going to take time, what we have to play a little bit of the kind of the long game, to accomplish, right? Okay. So this is one of my latest reports, and just call it Dallas County EMS certification. So it says here, Dallas GOP concerns over certification of ESNS Central Accumulator. Now, this is not a statement from the Dallas GOP. This is my report that I've written, collecting information from people in the Dallas GOP, or hearing about things that have happened and having them confirmed that involved people in the Dallas GOP. But I'm not part of the Dallas GOP. Sorry, I live in a downtown setting. It's freaking construction trucks. I'm not part of the Dallas GOP, and this is not a statement from them. They've not asked me to say anything. I just want to clarify. This is my report. Dallas County Republican Party Central Count Tabulating Team appointee resigned from his assigned post after learning that the county elections central accumulator is potentially not lawfully certified for use in tabulating and reporting election results. All right, here comes another question over the certification of these machines. Are they properly certified? Are they actually secure? Okay, because there's so many questions, and we can get into it, but this is a brief report over some of these so I can bring you guys up to speed on where we're at and kind of give you guys a basis of what to look into. Okay, like as far as what's going on in Dallas, what you're hearing about, you'll have a basis. So when you call somebody, you kind of know a little bit better, the right questions to ask. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so here we go. In my investigation, I have discovered that Hyder Garcia, Dallas County Election Administrator, previously Tarrant County election administrator. I have personally witnessed that he confirmed verbally that the central accumulator is programmed by ES&S. Okay, so the software on that central accumulator that he's using, that central accumulating and tabulation software that is on that central server, the EMS in central count, is an ES&S software. All right. He confirmed that verbally. I'm a witness. He confirmed verbally that the central accumulator does not have the ability to produce a hash value, which is required by law to confirm which version of the software is loaded onto a given computer. Okay. And this is, and we'll go over in just a moment, the EAC does outline that hash validation is part of certifying election software. That shows that because they certify different versions of these software. I mean, if the version of the software that you're using is not lawfully certified or is not has not yet been certified by the EAC and your SOS, then you can't use it. I don't care if the voting system manufacturer gave it to you and said, yeah, this is good. If it doesn't conform with the guidelines, then you really can't use it. If it effectively doesn't conform with the guidelines, then you can't use it. If it technically does, but it effectively doesn't, what are you doing? You know? And so we'll go over a little bit more about what's going on here. So Hyder says that the central accumulator does not have the ability to produce a hash value for us to determine which version of the software is loaded onto that server. He says that ES&S did not provide them with that mechanism to do it. And of course we're sitting here thinking, is that so? Hyder, if you're watching this and I've gotten anything wrong, I know you'll correct me. You know how to contact me. I have the same email. Okay, and I have the same number for that matter. Hyder, please feel free to correct me if I'm wrong about this. But he says that ES&S didn't provide them with the ability to produce a hash value from this software, but there's that argument is flawed as well, because it shouldn't be ES&S that's providing them with the ability to pull the hash value. It should be a third party that is able to go in there and pull the hash value. And of course, you have to think about it like this, because I already know what you're going to say, Hyder. Every third party is going to have their own way of pulling a hash value, and not every third party's hash value that they pull on a given software will be identical. That they could look different. Okay, well then we need the county, or I would say the county, since the county can pick the voting system manufacturer. I think the county should pick the third party software evaluator, I guess, whatever. We're gonna create a new position. All right, Hyder, because it shouldn't be the voting system manufacturer that provides you with the ability to hash validate their own software. It should be a third party. So we'll get that worked out. All right, Hyder. And it doesn't make any sense, the argument that they're making, and let me read you more of what they're saying so you understand what I'm saying. Hyder confirmed verbally that the Secretary of State's office authorized the use of ES&S software, which cannot be verified by hash value, and thus cannot be lawfully certified and cannot be used in Texas elections. Of course, Hyder did not say that this cannot be used in Texas elections. He confirmed verbally that the Secretary of State's office authorized the use of ES&S software, which cannot be verified by hash value. When I say and thus, this is my determination here. This is what I'm saying. And I'm just explaining this, Hyder, so you don't think that I'm misquoting you. I would never do that. Ever. Knowingly. Right. Hyder did confirm verbally that the Secretary of State's office authorized the use of ES&S software, which cannot be verified by hash value. Hyder, if you prefer that I edit this and change that comma to a period, I'm willing to do that. Send me a message. The next point. Christina Atkins, Director of Elections, Texas Secretary of State's office, previously worked under Keith Ingram, the former Director of Elections in the Secretary of State's office. So this is a witness statement. I have the witness statement. I am not the witness to this. But this goes in my report. Verbally advised, Christina Atkins herself, verbally advised my witness to ask Hyder for proof of authorization that he is allowed to use unverifiable ESNS software in tabulating and reporting election results. I'm unsure if Christina would have meant that in any sort of way other than ask him to bring you that, because I don't really know where to find that because I just got here. I don't know where to find that authorization. So if he has that authorization, ask him to produce it. I kind of think that's like what she was saying, right? But she did say ask him to show you what he's talking about. If he says that it's been authorized, ask him to show you what he's talking about. Ask him to produce that. Okay. So Christina Atkins verbally advised to ask Hyder for proof. So everybody that goes and talks to Hyder, anytime that Hyder says that the Secretary of State has authorized it, ask him to please find that and provide it to you. And remember, a lot of it will have happened before he got there. A lot of it will have happened when Scarpello was there. Okay. So, but it should still be on record. You can open records request that communication. Okay. But ask Hyder to just produce it, you know. Also, guys, a legal Public Information Act request needs to be in writing. It can be on a napkin, but it needs to be in writing and it needs to be submitted to the proper authority. All right. So give it to Hyder. And if Hyder tells you, give it to this person because they're in charge of that, then go and give your napkin request to that person. Okay. But it has to be written down. A verbal request is not binding by law. Okay. You know how this works. Christina Atkins verbally advised my witness that her understanding was that the central accumulator was, quote, too old to certify/validate with hash values, which I don't even know really what that means. Well, because guys, you know, remember, we're not computer engineers. How are we supposed to know if something's too old? And why are we if it's too old to be certified in all the ways that it lawfully legally needs to be certified, then why are we using it? Riddle me that. I don't understand. But good news is coming soon, guys. Just give me 1 second. I'll get down to it. Okay. Christina Atkins also sort of gave inaccurate advice relating to the lawful numbering of ballots in Dallas County elections. Christina, if you're watching this, one of the few impressive things, in my opinion, from a grassroots election security activist point of view, one of the few impressive things that Jennifer Hodju did was she actually got the ballots numbered according to law again. I know, Christina, you and Keith Ingram have been really like in and understanding and appreciating the whole blank ballots. That's coming from all these voting system manufacturers. They're telling you guys, y'all don't need to number the ballots according to law anymore. You can tell all these counties that no, they don't have to number the ballots anymore. They can just order their ballots from us, and we won't necessarily number them. We'll give them blank. They can reuse them, save them money. I know that you're all way in on that, okay? But some counties still care about being able to properly audit their elections and still care about following the law as it's written. And Jennifer Stoddard Hodju was actually very successful in returning to following the law related to the ballot numbering issue. So I know what you're thinking. You're surprised, aren't you? The Dallas County has gone back to numbering their ballots according to the law. So, Christina, you're wrong. Dallas is numbering their ballots according to the law. I hope you're okay with that, because there's really nothing you can do. So I just wanted to express that, because she seemed very confused and lost in what's actually happening. She's kind of just repeating things that she's heard. There's a relevant federal legislation, the EAC rules on certification. EAC is established in the Help America Vote Act. Here's page 42 of the EAC's election management guidelines. If y'all want to see this report, I'll probably put it out. We'll see. From page 42 of the EAC's election management guidelines, which is hyperlinked right here. You can go and read it. The first step in securing voting system software is ensuring that the software installed on the system is the exact software version that has been certified by the state or the Election Assistance Commission's EAC federal certification program, as required by state law. This starts with obtaining the software from a trusted source, such as directly from the state elections office or a voting system test laboratory, VSTL, that performed the tests for EAC certification. Once installed, voting system software should be validated using a cryptographic hash provided by the same trusted source that supplied the software. That means the people who have certified it, not the voting system manufacturers themselves. They do not need to be providing that. Okay. So let's clear this up. Hyder, message me. Am I unclear of something here? What am I getting wrong? You know how to reach me. But I think I understand. Once installed, let me make sure all my everything's working. You can still hear me. Okay. Yes. Once installed, voting system software should be validated using a cryptographic hash. Okay. This is what the EAC is saying needs to happen. It should be validated using a cryptographic hash. The voting system manufacturer should provide the instructions for hash validation as part of the documentation they deliver with the system. Election officials should reach out to their state certification authority or the EAC if they are unsure about the process for completing hash validation. So what Hyder is saying, okay, when Hyder says that ESNS didn't provide them with that, all right, this is part of the issue where ESNS is liable. The voting system manufacturer should provide instructions for hash validation as part of the documentation they deliver with the system. So they should have instructions for how they would pull their hash validation, how they pull theirs, okay? But also, right here, the voting system software should be validated using a cryptographic hash provided by the same trusted source that supplied the software, okay? And again, they started with obtaining the software from a trusted source, such as directly from the state elections office or a voting system laboratory that performed the test for EAC certification. So this voting system test laboratory will have their own way that they pulled the hash validation. Okay. So they need to be matching all of that up. For Hyder to say that there's no hash validation at all, that this software just doesn't have any of it, that's wild. So so they really can't even gaslight us about this, because maybe they could have gone in here and they could have been like, oh, we're really standing on some of this confusion. No, he's admitting there's no way to hash validate the software that's on the Dallas County election management system that is an ESNS software. Okay, that's wild. So we have no idea if the software changes. So just like, okay, let me get my mouse over here. Just like Patrick Byrne was reporting right here from the Kerry Lake lawsuit, he's saying right here, Maricopa County's election software used in the 2020 and 2022 elections has been altered with respect to the machine behavior settings that govern how ballots are read and tabulated. The EAC never approved this altered software. Okay, Maricopa's many previous representations that this election software is EAC certified. Okay, so here's the issue, guys. If the only way for them to detect that software was manipulated is through, well, maybe not the only way, but one way that is actually outlined and required by law is through hash validation. You change one little thing in that program, and that hash code is going to be like drastically different. I need to make sure y'all can hear me. That hash code is going to be like drastically different if you change one little thing in that software. Okay. That's how they're even able to tell if one of the ways they're even able to tell if that software was manipulated. Hyder, how can we tell if there's no way at all to determine the hash validation? There's no way at all to determine what version of the software is on that. We won't know if it's changed, if the version has changed. So we need an open records request, and I'll type. One of us will type it out. Somebody will watch this later and will type this request out. If it's not me, we'll open records request. A couple of things. I don't want to announce it right now. We'll go over some stuff. We'll go over some strategy. Okay, or people that are watching and some of my subs. We'll go over some strategy as to what we're going to open records request, because that's absolutely wild. Y'all would have. Okay, I'll tell you one. Oh, you know what, Hyder? This is what I want. I want all of the dates for the most recent software updates for all of the equipment parts, not just the scanners, not just the tabulators, or the BMDs. Okay, every single piece of equipment that ESNS has come in and updated with a new version of the software. I want to know when that was last done. Okay, including that EMS, that central server. And I mean, y'all have got to have a record of that if they've been coming in and updating any versions of the software. Otherwise, you're standing on this concept that you've been running off the same software since 2019 that's never been that's never been hash validated. You know what I want to do right now is look over at my report again. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to click on this and see when was this election management guideline. Let's check and see when was this updated. July 13th, 2023, created, at this point here, we can click right here. This is the PDF. All right. Let's see when this was originally drafted. Do you think it'll tell us? Let's go all the way to the bottom. Let's see. Revised 609. Okay. So it's a sample tally sheet. This is the EAC. It says right here, right down here, that sample tally sheet was at least revised last 609. Okay. Election Assistance Commission. All of this stuff was passed in 2002. A lot of this stuff has been established for a while, guys. Okay, a while. And they're saying that since 2019, I think is whenever they put that EMS or ESNS software on that Dallas County EMS system, that this stuff was already established then. It's not like this is new stuff that they have to follow. Okay, EAC never approved this altered software. The EAC has always been conscious of that since these voting systems were initially certified. From the onset of these computerized voting systems being certified, the hash value is part of it for the software that's being used. As soon as the inception of these voting system software, that was inherent in their certification. So it's wild, Hyder. If I'm missing something, please, I know that you'll correct me. So that's basically what I wanted to talk about. Now, we do have a couple other things that I'll mention real quick. This is an interesting issue that we've been facing. The party primaries are supposed to be in total control of the county executive committee, each party's county executive committee. But what we're seeing is county executive committees being forced into certain administrative procedures that they don't really want to be a part in, despite the primaries being totally in their control. Okay, so this is a report that I wrote about this because mainly this has to do with the Dallas County's GOP's right to design their canvassing the way that they want. If they want to do a hand recount in order to conduct their canvass prior to certifying the results of their own primary, they can do whatever the hell they want because that's what the party primary law says. That's also what the Supreme Court says. So I wrote a report on that. But this wasn't the first issue. I know a lot of you guys have been paying attention a lot more closely recently. You might have noticed, especially in Texas, that during early voting for your party primaries, a lot of the times, even if you vote Republican or you vote Democrat, your ballot is going into the same scanner and ballot box. Democrat and Republican mixing up their ballots. And that's being called a joint election using the same ballot box. Well, in this report and in several other reports that I've submitted to county party chair candidates who have since won their chairmanship, I have submitted reports outlining the rights of the party to conduct the primaries the way that they see fit, and that the concept of a joint primary means that they're sharing the same location. And there's an option. You can opt into sharing the ballot box. But for this primary and the last primary, the party chairs have not wanted that. They've wanted separate ballot boxes. But Hyder told them that they didn't have enough machines to do that all through early voting, where most of our votes come in, that they have to share the same ballot boxes and mix their ballots up, which is really bad for us because we're not trying to necessarily audit the Democrat primary. We're only trying to look and do recounts of our own primary. But in order for us to do that, we have to touch all of those Democrat ballots as well, potentially placing us at risk for a lawsuit from them for messing with their party primary records, which we shouldn't be doing and we're not interested in doing, but the county's forcing us to do it. They're saying that that's how it is. They're saying that, early voting is different. We can give you separate ballot boxes on election day, but that's the only day that you have authority over. Early voting's under the authority of the county, and the county says that no. And so I've written several reports, and I met with several chairmen and really encouraged them, and they liked the report. They agreed with everything, had their attorneys present and everything. saying, yeah, we agree with all of this. We have the right to go in, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to make sure that we write the contract, because a lot of these county party chairs are so lazy. They just let the elections office write the contracts, and they just say, okay, whatever, and they sign it. So the elections is doing whatever they want. Hyder would just do whatever he wants. Well, we've got new county party chairmen that are going to, in Dallas and in Tarrant, that are going to go in there and really fight for the party's rights next primary. They were a little bit overwhelmed with the idea that we didn't even have enough machines, which is the argument that these people are making as to why they can't give each party their own ballot box throughout early voting and election day. It's stupid. It's really dumb. Anyways, that's something that we need to pay really close attention to, guys. And it's convention season, so start drafting your resolutions. I mean, like right now, related to party primary election rights. Okay, read chapters. Let me roll down here, and I'll send this report out. Read chapters. Let's see. Let me roll down here. Chapter 1 of the election code is good. Political party primaries right here. Chapter 172 in the Texas election code. Go and read that. Brush up your understanding of what the party rights are related to their own primary elections, because it's pretty clear. It's pretty clear. And so we're going to start drafting resolutions to have the entire Republican Party of Texas on our side of this, saying, no, you don't tell us that we mix our ballots up with Democrats. I don't care what the Secretary of State says. I don't care what you say, Hyder. I don't care what Michael Scarpello thought was a cute idea. I don't care what saves the county money. You don't have the counties are not in a position to negotiate when it comes to the party primaries, and they need to be reminded about that. Okay. And so a lot of our party chairs need to be reminded about that. So I'm reminding you right now, you, the people, all you precinct chairs. Okay. Y'all need to go in there and say, this is what we're doing next time. And you do need to have a plan. But so the plan is from chapter 172 of the Texas election code and all subsequent chapters that it cites in how to conduct party primary elections. We're not asking anybody to operate outside the law. There's an entire chapter for how we are to run our party primary elections, which, by the way, supersedes every other chapter in election law, specifically for party primary elections. Okay. But there are rules that we will adhere to. Go and check out chapter 172 of the Texas election code. Okay. If you're interested in both of these reports, I will be putting them on the Telegram and on our websites. You can check out our new website. You know, you might know our old website, takingbacktexas.org. This is our new website. I'll take you through it real quick. This is TBTR, Taking Back the Republic. Okay. Make it full screen. So this is it right here. You can log in. We'll soon have classes where you can enroll now, and you'll just have access to some of our stuff that we're putting up there. If you're a poll watcher already and you hit enroll now, it's there's going to be some new stuff in there. And some of the same stuff that I'm presenting in a different way. So that might help you explain it to other people. I know if you're one of our poll watchers, you've understood a lot of this stuff from the beginning. You understand my autistic explanations about everything. We're going to have election security training. Okay. We're going to have get out the vote consulting. We're doing that right now. This is brutal right here. Accessing records. This stuff is brutal. All right. We're going to help you with that. We're going to help candidates with this. Okay. And whoever else. We have our deep state awareness courses. Very important that y'all understand that the deep state is real. It's the administrative state. Okay. I can give you names. All right. We have affidavits as an investigative tool. This is just how we use them. We'll tell you how we use them, and we don't even go to court. We don't even, we don't do any of that stuff. We'll show you how we do it. Legislative priorities. All right, guys, when we find that there's an issue and we're running into a brick wall and SOS is saying one thing, the law is saying something else, and our county is put between a rock and a hard place trying to defend the people and go against the deep state in the Secretary of State's office. All right, sometimes we got to take it to the legislature and say, you know what, let's clarify this in the law. And we did that last year. We'd have been a little more successful if it wasn't for the absolute mutiny that took place. But it's okay. We will be more successful this time around. We will. All right. And investigative authorities. Who should investigate election fraud at the county, state, and federal levels? I think we need to clarify this. You know what I'm saying? So I've put a section on there. We've got some stuff that we want to talk about. We are looking a lot at the sheriffs. but we can't really expect the sheriffs to do anything when the law is a technically like a gray area swamp. We've got to clarify the law. Then we need to empower our law enforcement officers to be able to help us out. Okay. So this is kind of what we're doing. We've got here securing our elections. You can find out more. This is just going to be like a link to our some of our articles, Substack, which we have a lot more to publish. I've gotten a lot of reports mostly done, but then I wait for like certain court cases to wrap up so I can cite that, because I don't want to cite a court case and then something changes, before it's done. So you can also drop us a line if you've ever seen anything weird, depending on where you're at. This is Taking Back the Republic. I don't care what state you're in. You seen something weird in your state, in your obscure little county, drop it here, because they are pushing some of this stuff in all corners of our nation. Okay, you can reach out and talk here. If you want to learn more, you can just sign up for the email list. We'll just send you an email every now and then when we have an event. Or when we're going live or doing an interview. Not all live streams will I announce, but if we're doing a big interview or an important interview, we have candidates on, then I'll send out an email. So check out our new website, Taking Back the Republic, tbtr.us. If you want to see our old website, takingbacktexas.org, it is still up. It's sort of in maintenance right now, so we're moving some things around. So it might change from day to day. But I appreciate you guys being here. And we will give another update soon. I got to run. This has gone longer than I wanted it to, but it's okay. I was going to do 30 minutes. It's been just at an hour and 4 minutes. All right. Thank you, guys. Y'all share this out. If you have any questions, you can send me an email, takingtxback@gmail.com. Okay, that's where I'm at. Y'all have a good day.